Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trio, our weekly look at all things Hong Kong racing. It's certainly heating up, and also from a whirlpool looking around the globe with the best form analysts in the business in Clint Hutchison and the Hall of Famer in Raymond, Shane, Dye and Hutch. Oh, we're all stayed up late at night to watch the mighty Romantic Warrior. So close.
Heartbreaking.
So close.
So it doesn't get any closer, does it? Hello, everyone. It's been a big week of racing. We've got a big weekend of racing as well, but it was tantalising, wasn't it? But he was still so brave.
He certainly was, Shane. He gave a good kick and it took a good one to run him down.
Yeah, he tries hard. He might have been at the end of his preparation. He's been over there a while, and James gave him a good ride. He had every chance. I think two things with him, Clint. One, he's 7 years old. He's getting older, and you decline as you get older. I think as a 5-year-old, he still would have won, and he's been over there a long time. And James has to now realise he's starting to get older and just hold him up a bit more. I'm sure you would have lost a bit of pace as time went by, Richo.
No doubting that. Absolute stack of it. I think you raise a really good point. I think he was so brave because your gut feel is he's maybe at 90% now. End of a long prep.
Look, he ran about, I think, 0.7 seconds slower than what he did back in January, same track and trip. For mine, it's more the end of preparation as opposed to his age, because he's been really well handled and his runs have been spaced. But what Shane saying 100%, you're not going to last that good forever. No. But we see a lot of good 7 and 8 year olds these days, don't we? But look, I would have thought, he had a hard run, didn't he, in Saudi? It was a tough
on dirt.
It was a tough race for him. So looking at the figures, he was a couple of lengths off what he did, and I think that's pretty much where we're at. We know Soul Rush, the winner, of course, from Hong Kong as well. But look, 8 millimetres he was beaten.
Was it really? I think the photo finish will tell it that. Oh, look at that.
I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? It really is. It was 8 millimetres. They went down.
There it is.
I don't know. In terms of, there's the seconds. Now, you know your time from your running days. Look at this. So they've had to go to, what is that, a thousandth of a second?
That's a thousandth of a second. That is unbelievable, isn't it? So 0.0006 is every bit a dead heat. I mean, Shane, back in the day, when you were riding Group 1 wins, that's a dead heat.
Probably, but it's not anymore. They've got the times and everything. But listen, he's a great horse. He tries hard. He's going to come back and be very competitive and win a lot more races. But have we seen the best of him?
That's going to be the big query, isn't it? But we look forward to him having a spell. And he'll come back and we'll hopefully celebrate his greatness as well. And also we'll touch on a retirement later on in the show of a horse who's been fantastic for Hong Kong racing. Hey, Sword Point just didn't handle the dirt.
Oh, it's a different dirt surface. And once he didn't jump well, he gets that kickback, you can see he wouldn't go a yard. Yeah. He was under pressure a long way. It was a dark night for Hong Kong, wasn't it? Of course.
Tragic end to How Deep Is Your Love.
How Deep Is Your Love, just a sort of a most unfortunate incident. So it was just, not a great night for Hong Kong, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
It was nearly great. It was 8 millimetres away from being absolutely great. It's always great when these boys are tipping, though. Check it out.
Well, firstly, Sky Jewellery's in the last. He'll be short. He should be very hard to beat.
I love him. I think he's very good. You only got to look at his stride. He's got a huge stride on him and he just wants to win.
Sky Jewellery right out in the centre of the track. He's gone past him. Torbian Prince, Morgan Success, Starmac, all there for Midas, but he's a good horse and he's going to win and win easily.
Top Throne was the one that ran well on debut. It was wide without cover.
Top Throne is the leader. He's put a length on Amazing Galaxy through the centre. Mount Everest Dazzling Fitz charging home, but it's all too late. Top Throne's too good.
Voyage Samurai is going to be very short. I think it'll be shorter than what price I've got him.
I've got the 5 on top from Helene Feeling, the 1 and Winning Dragon, the 3 actually same as Clint.
Voyage Samurai is still the leader. He has to get busy now on the front runner, and he leads by 2 over Helene Feeling and Snowfield and Winning Dragon, but too fast off the front, Voyage Samurai.
I think Vin Rock's got a really good chance. I know Shane liked the size win here at VRC, and I think he'll put himself there for Matt Laurie.
I like Vin Rock. Gate 1, he'll box seat behind Gazer.
Vin Rock along the rails. It's Vin Rock, state visit. Vin Rock in front. Vin Rock won the English Sires.
Just some of the brilliance, including a trifecta in order from our team as well. And we did see Sky Jewellery win impressively, ridden by Hugh Bowman, and he is our special guest today. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We'll look forward to Champions Day. We'll also look forward to the Whirlpool. It's going to be racing all around the world, trying to steer you into some winners. But first, let's get stuck into finding winners on Sunday at Sha Tin. Let's start our analysis on Sunday at Sha Tin with a really good race, including a lot of horses that have been front and mind for us. Race number 8.
Yeah, a number of these sort of line up against each other quite often. I've got Patch of Theta on top over Davano, Ruby Lot. Dromberg Banner probably finds a soft lead in this race, and we have seen Patch of Theta troll pretty well since a couple of disappointing performances against stronger opposition. So it's a really interesting race. Here is a look at Ruby Lot. Now, the interest with this horse, obviously, is this was against class opposition, and Davano's come out and run very good time where they ran a track record, and Ruby Lot coming off a Derby campaign back in Trip and freshened up, and he's a pretty talented horse, and the format of this race works out well. So wasn't sure where to place him. Shane, what did you think of Ruby Lot's chances?
I want to see him. He's coming back in distance, but they seem to do it in Hong Kong, don't they, Clint? They always go well when they come back after a Derby because they've got the class. I don't think this is an easy race. I think Dromberg Banner will get a very soft lead. I don't think anything will take him on unless the girl wants to go on Invincible stage from gate 1, and he could be hard to run down. But I'm with you, Patch of Theta. He's going to get a good run just in behind. I think Meydan is the improver. His run was better last start. Here's Patch of Theta last start, Clint.
Yeah, he was disappointing. Now, what he did is he popped out at about the 600 to make his run, so he peaked on his run late. I'm not sure about Invincible Sage. He needs wet tracks, and I think 1400's a real issue for him. Now, since this race, Patch of Theta has been given a little freshen. He's trialled well. If he recaptures his form prior to that run and earlier in the season, he could certainly win it. Meydan did no work here. Shane got home well, but was entitled to. And Dromberg Banner up to 1400 is much better suited.
Yeah, well, correct. 14 suits Stromberg better than 12 this day. But with Meydan, he went to Japan and he just didn't come back no good. It really knocked him around. Now, this day here, he's really got home and he's had a trial since then, and he's gone extremely well in that trial. Maybe he's starting to find form again, Clint. I'm hoping he is because he's a very good horse. But that Japan trip really knocked him.
Yeah, it took him a little while to find it. So this is a really hard race.
It's tough.
I found it a very difficult race. And Davano ran third to Packing Hermod when they broke the track record, and he gets in with no weight. So it's you can make a little case for quite a few horses.
And that claim at 3 as well. Well, Hughie Bowman's our special guest, so he'll steer us towards how well Patch of Theta's going. Shane, just give us your numbers. I know you've got Patch of Theta on top.
Patch of Theta from Meydan, from Dromberg Banner and Davano. Okay. But, even I'm leaving out Beauty Joy, who I was tipping last start, and with the right run, probably should have won last start.
And Ruby Lot's just a hard one to assess from 2,000 metres back to the 1,400 metres. Let's zoom back, if we can, to race number 5 to get your thoughts here. Hutch, you've got Gloria Elite on top.
A little more confident in this race, Richard. I think Gloria Elite's got a very good chance. Zach Purton's a key booking. He's never been on this horse, actually, but Beauty Destiny, what a season this horse is enjoying. He's won 5 of 8. He's a different horse since they started riding him cold. Lady's Choice is flying, and Gustissimo brings similar form lines that are tied in and was a bit unlucky. In fact, that's Gustissimo, 3 wide, no cover, copped the check early. What was good about this win, Shane, was Beauty Destiny was the only horse all night to do this. Sit back, wide, come around them. We know it was a rails hot night, but this horse, albeit at the Valley, has just been a different horse since they've started riding him cold.
Just amazing. He's transformed. Now, I know he's had a few runs in Sha Tin for 1 placing, but he wasn't going as well as he is now. This day was a big surprise. I had him a short price favourite and just drifted him right out the way the track was, and he still won. So he's flying, Clint.
Yeah.
I know he's getting up in the weights and the ratings, but the way he's racing, he can keep going because he hasn't shown a sign that he's going to stop, and he hasn't shown a sign that he's reached his rating.
In November, he carried a similar weight. In fact, half a kilo more, won by nearly 3 lengths. So the weight's not going to stop him.
No.
So I don't think Sha Tin will stop him, and the key point is exactly what Shane referenced there in terms of he's just a different horse. So we've got to, don't take too much into the Sha Tin angle, I wouldn't have thought. That said,
here's your tip.
Glory Elite will go forward. He is in good form. This is a high rating race. Now, we saw Fast Network come out and blow them away. This was J-Mac on Fast Network this day. Master of My Universe is a handy horse, and Glory Elite will be forward. He will have a map advantage. And Zach on this kind of horse can be very, very dangerous. So, Shane?
Yeah, he can be. I think the race revolves around Whiz Kid, whether he leads or not. If he gives up the lead from gate 1 and Glory Elite comes across, he's going to get it pretty soft, I would think. But if Whiz Kid comes, makes the pace, it's going to make it harder for Glory Elite. I've got Beauty Destiny. I'm going with him again. And he's just flying. Glory Elite last start, Clint, he went no good on the dirt, but it was the dirt. And he also stumbled out of the gates. So that was him being disadvantaged. And Gorgeous wins racing well. I know he's got the 135 gate 10, but he'll get back and come down, and this is a weaker race than what he's been running in.
Yeah, I think the map will also advantage Lady's Choice. He's absolutely flying, and a small horse doesn't, a reasonable sized horse, but the weight will be a factor for him. He drops a number of kilos or pounds, so it's a good little race actually.
Yeah, it's a beauty, isn't it? We finished the program, race number 11. Steer us into a winner to culminate a big day.
I'm going back with Light Years Charm. I think they were sort of half going on a derby path with this Dave Eustace trained galloper, and they've decided they weren't going to get their ratings-wise. So back to 1,400. I liked his wins over 1,400. Honlock Golf, of course, he's got that Sky Jewellery form. He's flying. Armour War Eagle's in good form. Could have easily won last start. And Charming Legend was a horse that we noted good with probably not the ideal run last start. Now, Shane, they led with Honlock Golf this day. He put a couple of lengths on the field and he lasted. I think he'll be handy again today up to 1,400, but I'm not sure he'll necessarily contest the lead. But he's got just a very nice progressive horse.
He's racing really well. He's going to be forward, but Beauty Glory's in the race, and they might want to lead with him from gate 2. But he can sit off them. We've seen him sit off them, so that's no problem. He's going to run very well. This is actually a good race. There's quite a few going well in this. Like if I have a look here, Sky Trust flying, Charming Island, Legend, number 2, should have probably nearly won last start. Honlock Ewan can win. The top 6 are all racing to the best of their ability at present, Clint.
Yeah, they
and
are.
The Sky Jewellery form looks really good, doesn't it? But you're with Light Years Charm as we have a look at a run back on the 9th of Feb.
This was what he can do off a good speed over this trip. Zach was out for his next run. It was the day where the inside wasn't great. He was bottled up, and I don't think he's the type of horse, Shane, that will necessarily sprint. I think he just builds, and I think off this good speed we saw what he could do, and I'm hoping it's a similar race shape for him. And it's interesting they've come back to 14 with him as well.
Well, last start he missed the start a few lengths, and then he rushed up to be midfield, so he was used a lot of energy early. Here's, of course, last start, these two horses, Endeared and Armour War Eagle, both went really well. Armour War Eagle missed the start this day, so his run was really good, but he gets back anyway.
He does, but I thought Armour War Eagle, that's why I've had him priced a little shorter. He gets a little weight swing. He maps it a touch better, I think. And indeed had the gun run on that occasion. This time from 10, he'll need some luck, I think, from out there. So it's once again, as Shane said, there's quite a few chances. If you're alive in the last and a few exotics, you might need a number of numbers. Yeah.
Hey, Golden Boy, give us your top 3 or 4.
I'll go Light Years Charm from Honlock Golf, Charming Legend and Sky Trust. But, of course, Armour War Eagle and Endeared have both got a good chance here.
Okay, so basically the top 6, but you are with Hutch with number 4. We'll get some more insight and intel in regards to the program on Sunday with our special Star Power guest, the one and only Hong Kong Hugh Bowman.
A length over, Can't Go Wong. Out wider is Harmony Galaxy. Wider again, SJ Torbian. It's Can't Go Wong and Harmony Galaxy. The 2 lifting Can't Go Wong. Hugh Bowman and Danny Shum over 3, Can't Go Wong. Telecom Powder wider out and now getting a run, Stella Swift. It's Beauty Thunder in front. Bowser, Stella Swift. It's still Beauty Thunder. Favourite's going to get him. Stella Swift. Turum Warrior next from Casa Rochester. The leader is Quantum Patch. He's a length in front. Casa Rochester's going after him. It's Quantum Patch. Casa Rochester eating into the margin. Oh, that's close.
And our special star power guest is going that well in Hong Kong. We've changed his nickname. He is the People's Champ, but we now call him Hong Kong Huey, who joins us now in Huey Bowman. Always a pleasure, mate, to catch up. And, that was a good night on Wednesday night.
Richo, hi. Yeah, it was a good night. I had some nice rides, a couple of placings outside the winners as well. So, no, the momentum's been good the last 3 or 4 weeks, and yeah, hopefully it can continue on into the big FWD meeting at the end of the month. Yeah,
we'll touch on that in a little while, Huey, but you're happy the way things are trending. I know with your weight, it's obviously not easy to get sort of the number of rides of a few of the others, and quality can be hard too, but you enjoyed a good season. You're second on the table.
Yeah, Hutcho, look, the thing about the weight, that's been part of my entire career. You know, I've missed opportunities as a young jockey coming through with the big handicaps that other younger, lighter riders get. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you know it has its benefits as well. Sometimes you pick up rides because you're heavier. So, I don't think about what I'm missing because of my weight. It is what it is, and you know I've learned to live with it. And you know I think the last month or so, my weight actually has been quite stable, and it's helped the consistency of my riding and the winners flowing. So, you know, if I can concentrate on that for the remainder of the season, we might hopefully keep the momentum going.
I was just going to ask you about that just quickly. I mean, Hong Kong races twice a week. I know you ride a lot more work. How do you find balancing that part of, you know, your weight, etc., in Hong Kong compared to when you're in Australia when you ride a lot?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, as a younger jockey, I was always much better when I rode more often, you know, and I wonder whether that was because it forced me to manage my weight better. But it's a good question, and I think, you know, it comes down to self-discipline, quite frankly. And if I'm disciplined and I'm focused on it and I'm doing the work outside the races, then I'm fine. But if I get a bit lazy, and through the Chinese New Year, we had a week off then, and I had a suspension on the back of that where I missed another week. So I sort of, you know, and I knew I had that time off, and I think I relaxed a little bit with my training schedule, and I think that told in my results, you know, after that period of time. But, you know, I recommitted to the regime, so to speak, and it's hard to stay, you know, that 100%, 110% discipline on that, you know, on the training and diet regime in the entire year. So I did relax a little bit, but it told in my results, and I knew that. So I got back on the horse, so to speak, and got myself fit. And you know, I think now you're seeing the results of or the rewards from that hard work.
You'll be bouncing out of bed, mate, thinking about Sky Jewellery. Simply, how good is he?
Well, it's a bit early to tell, but he's certainly an exciting prospect. He's a very sensible horse. He was aided by a good pace in this race. He really enjoyed it. He was still a little bit new in amongst horses earlier in the race, but you'll see here when I balanced up, I was able to let him get organised, and you know he swapped legs and went through his gears really well. Exciting horse.
Looks like he's got a lovely big stride. I know Shane's been commenting on that. When he lets down, Huey sort of just gobbles them up pretty quick. I know they went a reasonable gallop there, but in the blink of an eye, you had them covered.
Yeah, he went past them pretty comfortably, as you can see. But, you know, remember back to his first start at Happy Valley, he was caught up in amongst horses, you know, and I asked him to, you know, quicken, you know, before he was ready to quicken, and he did it with enthusiasm and he did it with style. So, look, he continues to learn, and we're looking forward to what lies ahead with him. And, you know, the fact that he's climbed through the distances and the ratings as quickly as he has puts him in good stead for the future.
Now, Shane, we're keen to talk about Huey's treble on Wednesday night, but apparently one of them cost you a little bit. Are you okay about this?
Oh yeah, getting back to Sky Jewellery. This time next year, he could possibly be the best horse of the time. That's how good I think he is.
Wow.
Could possibly He'll win the Derby at this stage. And I'm sure Huey wouldn't be looking for another ride yet.
Is that fair, Huey?
I'll tell you what I have learnt over the years is don't look too far ahead.
Yeah.
But in saying that, you do have to plan ahead. And, you know, I'd be interested to see what John Size decides to do with him, whether he continues to race him this season or gives him a break. I don't know. Obviously, I won't interfere with those decisions. But, look, he's a horse that's certainly got physical strength and agility, but I can see he's got more maturing to do. So he's got the brain of a good horse. There's no doubt about that. And he's certainly got the engine and the physical attributes to match. So time will tell.
Shane, take us through Wednesday night with Huey. I think it raised your attention.
I had a big go at Beauty Thunder. I thought he could win, and I loved him, but Huey gave his a perfect ride, 3 back on the fence. My one laid out in the straight a bit. If he stays in, he actually wins. My one, because Huey couldn't have got a run, but he just gave us the perfect ride. It was a good win.
I'll tell you what.
Everything went right for him in the straight.
Yeah, I think actually it was early in the race that Huey would have been breathing in because Karras was outside you there, and if he rolls down to the fence, it could have been nightmarish for you actually, but you just held your spot enough there.
Well picked up. He jumped well. I think, Shane, if Alexi stayed in, I would have just come outside him anyway. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but I would have won anyway.
Well, you didn't have to go anywhere. You got a clear run.
See, I would have come outside him and won.
It was good through the line.
He was good through the line, and you're right, HUTCHO, early on in the race, you know, Karras was, you know, he had better speed than me, and I would have happily let him go if he could have gone, but he was pushing so hard to cross me, and my horse gathered the bridle and started to travel, and I said, Karras, look, I'm sorry, there's just not room for you to pop in front of me there, and thank goodness, because I wouldn't have won if
you wouldn't have.
Me. You're right. That's right.
Is that how politely you do say it during the race?
Well, I was allowing him to go into the first corner because my horse couldn't keep up with the pace. But before he could cross me, you know, it was Karras's horse, in fact, that couldn't keep up with the pace, and my horse started to travel comfortably. So, yeah, I had to give him 2 or 3 voice recordings to just remind him that I was there. But,
as we like to say, a gentle reminder. A gentle reminder here.
Exactly. It worked out well.
Hey, Golden Boy, take Huey through his rides on Sunday. Who have you got the eye on?
Well, actually, he's got a lot of chances. Enjoy Golf's been racing well. Huey, of course. Northern Beach is second up from a long spell. His first up run was good. Goes well. Up the straight, I think it is. He's up the straight.
1,000 metres.
Yeah, he's not the worst.
Well, he's not the worst, and I worked him the other morning, and he gave me a really good feel, actually. So the most exciting horse for me, though, that I'm riding is Charming Legend. It's a pretty decent race, but I've got a bit of time for this horse. I don't think we've seen the best of him. He won his first start here in Hong Kong, and then...
Jeez, Huey, I wasn't happy the other day. I backed him the other day. I had you leading or outside the leader.
Yeah, but that's the thing. See, we were doing that last prep, and he was just not finishing his race. You know, he was just racing too keen and not finishing off like the horse that we know he is. Like this horse has got more ability than what we've seen at the races so far, and so it was a case. He had a wide draw, and when I saw Keith Young inside me push as hard as he did for the lead, I was going to be posted. You know, if I went forward, I was going to do a lot of work, so I went back, which we agreed on doing before the race anyway with Denny, who was not present on the day. But he's one to follow, honestly, and now he's learnt to relax a bit. He's not as precocious as he was. I think we might see him go through his classes.
Hey, Huey, one runner that we've covered one race already was Patch of Theta. I'm intrigued with this horse because I think he seems to have gone off the ball for his last couple of runs. His form prior was excellent. You've trialled him recently. He seemed to trial well. What were your thoughts?
He's flying. His last couple of runs, the 1,400 metre race didn't suit him the way it was run, and the last run was a mile. I'm not convinced he really gets a mile.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a bit too keen for it. And I think back to earlier in the season, I tried him over 1,000 metres up the straight. And the trouble for these horses, there's not a lot of options for them once they get to his rating band. But I think this horse could be really effective over 1,200 metres, to be honest. And I think the 1,400, we've got Stromberg Banner in the race, which should ensure a pretty genuine gallop, if not fast. And I think you can, honestly, I think the horse is ready to run a peak race for the season.
Oh, that's great. And he's drawn a gate where you can just get a nice smother too. So hopefully.
Well, he needs to settle though.
Yep.
You know, he's a very, like he does tend to over travel, and he's been, you know, he's been in races with a lighter weights, with a lighter jockeys, and he's a pretty strong horse. And not only that, the pace has been slow. So it hasn't suited him. I think with a good pace, he gets well in with the weights with Beauty Joy in the race. It gets him in the middle of the weight band. I think I'm really confident.
Huey, can you stay with us for a moment? And we need to look back on an unbelievable weekend of world racing through the World Pool. The Whirlpool turnover was absolutely remarkable on Saturday. So this was obviously in Sydney base and then rolling on to Meydan, and the turnover there, Hong Kong dollars of $472.4 million, bet across the 13 races from Randwick and Meydan, is a new record turnover for the Whirlpool bet type. So
yeah, fantastic, astronomical, and it keeps growing, which is fantastic for the sport. And here's a look at Steffi Magnetica. This was an interesting race, G. It was a typical Donny from that point of view. Didn't know where to look.
You didn't? Yeah, you're right, Huey. When we looked at this, I mean, they just dropped the tempo out, and in the end, it's a blanket go between about 10 of them. But one of the great characters in racing, and Bjorn Baker gets a win, so that's always good.
Well, I mean, and thoroughly deserved. It's been, you know, Bjorn, who's a close friend, actually won the VRC Derby for his father and him many years ago. I think 2009 for memory.
Mighty Lion Tamer.
I remember Bjorn when he went. He left. He left Murray and the stables in New Zealand and came over and started out. You know, he had to start from scratch, as everyone does if they make a move like that. And you know, it's been about probably 15 years, and he's built up a stable and a consistent flow of success at all levels. And it was great to see. And Jason Collett too, he's done the same. It's been a long grind to get the opportunities in these big races, but I can see him really taking it to the next level over the next 5 years.
Shane, you've been very quiet. Another couple of Kiwis we're talking about. I thought you'd pipe up and just give us a reminder.
Don't need to. It's just monotonous.
Yeah.
It's best I keep quiet and let you do the talking.
Yeah, just keep telling everyone how good the Kiwis are, if you don't mind. Hey, Hugh, can you remember a good filly thrashing the Colts like this in a derby? This was some win.
Well, the last filly I remember winning the derby, I think, was Glenn Boss was it Shamrocker for?
Correct, for Danny O'Brien.
Is that right, for Danny O'Brien? But that was a nail biter. That was a bob of the head job. But to see this, just incredible. I know it's not Chris Waller's. I know it's not his go, but wouldn't it have been great to see it back up in the Oaks and watch the two top fillies take it on this week?
Since steroids are gone, right, in Australia, geldings just don't measure up anymore compared to the fillies and colts. I've been saying this for years. What's your opinion?
Well, I think that the good ones aren't left. The good ones aren't cut, Shane. So that's why the geldings don't measure up, really. Because if they've got pedigree and potential, they're left as colts.
And then they don't train on anyway. They go to stud.
Well, quite often. And, you know, I suppose the other thing is that the breeding pattern for Australia is not for these Derby middle distance types. It's more for the sprinter milers, as we know. And so there's less focus on the distance races, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe that's got something to do with it, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, just to emphasise your point, Shane, just some stats I did leading into this week.
I like this.
So fillies and mares tackling the boys in open class. So the Australian Horse of the Year, 10 of the last 15 years it's been won by a mare. Newmarket, 4 of the past 7. Queen Elizabeth, 5 of the past 9. Ramvet, 4 of the past 5. Cox Plate, 6 of the past 10. The mares are just totally and utterly, and the fillies and the Golden Slipper, 3 of the last 4, they're just dominating.
Yeah.
Okay, Richo, go and do the Golden Slipper. I know the Golden Slipper well. Before 2000, when steroids stopped, 70% were colts winning. Now it's reversed. It's mainly fillies winning. So something's happened.
They've won 6 of the past 9 Golden Slippers just off the top of my head.
It's normally fillies win now, not colts.
You saw a nice filly at Caulfield, Scenic Point.
Yeah, well, there's one that could be, I think, well worth following potentially for the 1,000 guineas. I think of all the races that we had in Victoria, I think this is the filly. She's only 2. She's had 2 starts for 2 wins now. Just something to keep an eye on. The Hayes boys are doing a great job. We'll talk about Mr Brightside soon enough, but they are absolutely firing, as is David Hayes up in Hong Kong, and I think they've got a nice one with Scenic Point.
And also, just quickly, hey, Dubai World Cup, Hits Show hits the line to win just at a time when the caller said the winner, the leader looks home, and fair enough too. It was a fair enough call, looks home, and then out of nowhere comes Hit Show right on the line as the leader starts to really stop. And Hit Show, so it's an American victory there for Brad Cox and Guru as well in the saddle. So it was an interesting race. Great
night's racing, isn't it, Hugh? The the Dubai World Cup meeting. It all eyes from all over the world, big money on show, and it never really fails to deliver.
No, I've had the privilege of riding at that meeting once, and yeah, it's an amazing. The best horses, and it's interesting, Japan really, really attack it nowadays. Over the last sort of 5 to 6 years, they've really stepped it up. It was a Japanese horse I rode there when I went, but it's an amazing spectacle. Good horses. It's always good racing, and it was interesting to see the Dubai World Cup. It changed complexion over the last 200, 300 metres, which is rare, actually. Usually it's pretty done and dusted by the 200-metre mark.
Yeah. Hey, let's look forward to Champions Day while we've got you quickly, Hugh. 27th of April. Selected runners have been announced, so it's so exciting. We'll concentrate on the sprint, Ka Ying Rising. I presume that you're going to stay with your modern-day hay list in Helios Express, who just keeps running outstandingly well but just keeps bumping into this champ.
Yeah, he's flying, Helios. He's a pleasure to work with. He's just so genuine. Very proud of him every time he races, but he just can't measure up to the Ka Ying Rising, who seems to get better and better.
Hey, Hugh, this day, I must say, about this point of the race, it wasn't the 1,200, it was more the 1,400 where you loomed in. I thought you might be going to make a race of it, but what were you feeling that day?
Yeah, I was of the same view. I could have done with more tempo mid-race. They just backed it off around the circle, and Helios started to travel a little bit too strong. But I have learnt that if I hold him up for a last burst as when he runs his best, the day that he could have won was the international sprint. Yeah. If Joe Maria could have gone in a straight line for me in front of me, I honestly think I could have run down Ka Ying that day, but he was off the back of a peak performance, and he ran a bit under par in fairness. But Helios, it's horse races are, they're never set in stone, so you never know what's going to happen. But with a bigger field and more pressure up front, it could play into our hands. But the thing about Ka Ying Rising, he's done it before. He can run the time himself up the front, and still continue. So look, we know what he's capable of, but we'll just keep doing our best to run him down.
That is music to my ears, because I said that on international, and you and Shane just shouted me down. Ka Ying Rising would have won. Don't be stupid. Helios wasn't going to beat him. There's the master jockey.
Get your record book out and see who won it. Hey, Huey, what have you got any other rides in the other races, the mile or the 2000?
Yes, I'll ride Ruby Lot in the 2000 and Red Lion in the mile. Red Lion ran really well last year. Very consistent horse, and he's another horse I haven't ridden. I don't ride every start, but yeah, always a pleasure to ride him.
And your take with Brightside coming over as well. It's great to see some Australian representation and royal patronage for that matter. Your thoughts on their chances? And here is a jump out from Brightside.
Okay, well, I think Brightside doesn't need any introduction. I mean, he really is a champion, really. His record says it. He never runs a bad race. I guess they've got to travel over and settle in, but, I would suggest a horse of his maturity should have no problem doing that. I think you've got a good, if I was in the camp, I would have a very good feeling about it.
Yeah. And Ruby Lot, the 2000, I know he runs this weekend, so it's an interesting sort of, I suppose, lead-in for him. But what have you...
Well, he was going to trial at a mile on Tuesday morning, but David thought, well, why don't I run him over 14 rather than trial him over a mile? So that's the reason behind that. Well, how I've got on him is because Brenton Abdallah assumed he'd run in the mile and took a ride in the 2000. And so obviously Brenton's been on him through the Derby campaign. So that's how the ride came available. But look, he's a horse that I would suggest is going to take that next step over the next 12 months, but this is a pretty significant step up in class for him. So we'll give him his chance to run as well as he can, and hopefully that's good enough to win.
And with no Romantic Warrior, that helps the chance.
Yeah, it's an interesting race all of a sudden. I think the Hong Kong might be a touch vulnerable.
Hey, Huey, we've taken up enough of your time, mate. We love chatting to you. As always, good luck this weekend. Love to your family, mate. We look forward to seeing you soon. We'll be cheering you on.
Thanks, Richo. It's always lovely to be on the show, and looking forward to winding down the end of the season, and hopefully we chat before the end.
Great to have Hughie Bowman on our show as well. We're going to have a look at a couple of races on day 2 of the championships. The Whirlpool program is absolutely outstanding in Sydney for day 2 of the championships, and taking all 10 races, if you don't mind. So we'll preview a couple and then also put a couple on our social media platforms. But the Sydney Cup, which Shane Dye won back-to-back with the mighty Ty the Knot in 98-99, is the first race that we'll have a look at. And Circle of Fire is trying to do what Ty the Knot did and try to win back-to-back Sydney Cups. But it's going to be about this mare that is trained by Gay and Adrian called Al Kantz, who will be the favourite.
Yeah, and just at the weights gets in really well. In fact, has beaten some rivals and comes in on even better terms, likes to roll forward. I think the interesting part about the race is really just where Al Kantz is drawn. Do they make it worked this time early in the race? It seemed to get a pretty nice time of it up on speed.
It was soft and then a sprint.
And then a sprint. And the horse that we both like, Richo, Birdman, who I just like out of this run. Late sectionals were excellent, closed off well, drawn to get a nice run, and with 50 kilos on its back, they can run a big race each way.
Yeah, and there was actually another horse there that was last in the purple colours that ran through in behind Birdman called Stratay that can run some sort of race as well. But it looks to be a beauty. So you're going for Birdman?
Presume that might be part owned by Ian Bruce, of course, is in Hong Kong. He has a lot of the Strath horses up there, former committee man. So good luck if that's the case. Birdman each way for me. I think Birdman... And I know it's one that you don't mind. Just at the price, Richo, it looks it's not an easy race. It's quite a few chances, and I think the price. What about you, Shane?
She's going to be very hard to beat, the mare. The only thing is, can she lead on her own? And there's a little bit of pace in this race. There's about 3 or 4 that could take her on. So that could bring her undone. But the way she's going, she's so well weighted, she's going to be hard to beat. I thought Circle of Fire's going good. And if you remember last year, it was the biggest win you've probably seen in a Sydney Cup. Sat 3 wide the whole way. He's not badly in at the weights, considering a Sydney Cup winner, and his last run was pretty good, and he might just be ready to peak, and he's big odds He's huge odds.
Yeah, he is huge odds, isn't he? Look, I went with Birdman. I thought Birdman was the play here. Once again, at the price, I just think, LL Counts is a little short. But I think also some exotics. There's a horse called RICHO, who's a Group 1 winner that can run really well, I think, and had a couple of cracks at 2 miles, ran 4th in the Sydney Cup and ran top 11 in a Melbourne Cup, and also the horse I mentioned in Strathspey. But we'll roll over to the Queen Elizabeth, and well, there's 25 Group 1 wins amongst this lot, Shane. Starts right at the top there with Dubai Honour. Interestingly, gets on a dry track and drops back to 2,000 metres.
Well, of course, he's won this before, but he started with a 2,000-metre race in the Ramvet. This year, he's gone 2,400 metres of the Tancred, coming back to this. Can he win? Yeah, he's an outstanding horse. His win in the Tancred was very good. He's got an awkward gait. Is the track going to be good, though, Richo?
Well, it's been upgraded to a soft 5 and not expecting a lot of rain, so it'll be a lot drier than it was in the Tancred. But this is the one they have to beat. Yeah. And she's got a chance to equal Winks and have 7 Group 1s for the season.
She's the best 2,000-metre horse in Australia. And I think what sort of has, I can see why a few might be cautious, because visually she hasn't put margins on them, but the races haven't been run for her to be able to really do that. And Chris Waller, we know, grand final trainer, he's targeted this race all along. I think the bigger field and speed with Deny Knowledge in the race will actually help her. Shane, Gate 1's interesting with J-Mac. You got the world's best on board, so he'll find a path if he can. But that could be the little knock for me more than anything else, just where she's drawn and where she gets to, because she'll be the hunted, not the hunter.
I think in all of her career starts, let's be fact, she's only gone boom once. And what she did in the Cox Plate was unbelievable. She never did it before, and she hasn't done it again. And she would have beat Winks that day. I don't know how you rated her that day, Clint, but I'm sure on ratings, her ratings are there, Cox Plate there. So she's done it once.
Yeah.
She's got to go better than what she's been going to win this.
No doubting that. So, I mean, you look at all the ratings. I saw one rating. I mean, she ran about 10 lengths faster than Winks when she won that Cox Plate. Now, she was impressive again at her next start, but she came down a notch. So the question will be is, how well is she going now? Keep in mind, before that Cox Plate, she just defeated Buckaroo in a driving go in a Turnbull. She wasn't impressive. Chris Waller can get him right.
No, I think he can, and I think
he can get him right.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be taking her on too much. I mean, I think she's short enough probably in the early markets, but it'll be interesting to see. I think there's value in the Quinella anyway. I think she's going to start, hopefully a reasonable price.
She won't.
But for me, Light Infantryman and Chow Wolf are the ones that could really run a big race. Light Infantryman, they stepped him up to 2,000 the other day at Flemington. He was impressive.
He was.
Very impressive. And I thought that Chow Wolf, I know a lot of people are sort of knocking that horse. Like Joe Pride, I think it hasn't been an ideal prep, but this is the time to jump on.
Shane, what do you think?
Well, if she wins like she does, if she goes like she does in the Cox Plate, she'll win by 5 or 6 lengths. There's no doubt about that. But will she? God only knows. I've got to buy on. I'm going for a couple of roughies. She's just unders at $1.85. When there's other runners on the same day, like Fangirl or whatever it's called, it's $2. How's it $2 and this is $1.85? It doesn't make sense to me. But what I know, I'm only an ex-jockey.
Now, Roshan Park.
Yes,
Japanese entrance. What's going on there, Shane?
Oh, the Japanese always go well. Like they brought a third-rate horse over against Winks and got beat a length. And it had done nothing in Japan. This has got better form than that by 100 yards. Some of its runs were really good, Clint. So you got to throw the Japanese horses in.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that was Kluger, and that was on a rain-affected track. This will be a drier track. This will suit the Japanese horse. He ran second in a Breeders' Cup behind Rebels Romance, who's just a quality Group 1 performer all around the world. We've seen him in Hong Kong. Really pushed him. And he's been training superbly. They have Canterbury Park to themselves, which is ideal.
Oh, okay.
All of the quarantine horses come out, and if they've got ability, they run really well. So I'm Rusham Park each way, and also Buckaroo. They're both fixed prices. They're close to 20 to 1.
Well, you can get good value on the day too.
Buckaroo probably should have won the Caulfield Melbourne Cup last year, and he was flying.
Yeah.
Right? So he's only had the one run back, and it wasn't bad. He's definitely not the worst. Look, I'm not saying she can't win. Of course she can win. She's $1.85. We all know. We all know she's outstanding. She's very good. I just want to see her do that peak figure or go close to it again.
And if she does, she'll be unbeatable if she gets anything. Unbeatable. We'll have a look at the Oaks and also the Queen of the Turf on our socials. Let's get stuck into finding some future winners. Future winners with HUTCHI'S form files. Who was a sectional star? Let's start there.
Really nice run from this horse. Who was very well backed as well, Richo. This was a terrific performance from a Dazzling Fit. Of course, the top throne was a nice result. It had a beautiful run on the back of the speed with the winkers on, or the cheek pieces, and was excellent. But Dazzling Fit's just a winner waiting to happen. Probably, I'm not sure if it needs to go up in trip necessarily, but 22.02, final 400, and an excellent last furlong as well. And if he does go up in trip, or he can just find a slightly closer spot, he's going to win multiple races. So this is a horse, Shane, that looks like he's got his, like I said, he does look a winner waiting to happen.
Yeah, his last two runs have been really good. He needs a gate. He's been drawing out wide, of course, last start, and went back on him. If he goes up in distance, he'll race a lot closer with a good gate, and he should be winning. Nice horse.
Yeah, 22.02, last 400, 11.27, last 200 there. Who's sweet in defeat?
Yeah, got a few in this file, Richo. I thought Dazzling Fit's obviously won. Silo was a horse that we highlighted from another race, a key form reference, which Kahalo Angel managed to win out of. And, Sky Vino during the week, absorbing a strong tempo, did a lot of early work, over-raced, and I think did a fantastic job to finish as close as he did. Silo, I like the run here. Huey rode him. He was obviously well back in the field in this event. He did work home to the line well. He'll benefit a lot from this run, Shane Silo. And like I said, there's patches of his form early in the season which really read well. It was a nice result this race with Breen Express for us. I think the Boombox is probably would almost be better up in class with a lot of weight. But I just love the way Silo worked home late.
Yeah, got to the line good and run out of room the last, 80 metres or so. Been a little bit inconsistent at times, but fresh now, of course, and he could win soon in the right race.
Sky Vino, Dazzling Fit and Silo go into the Sid file. G1 Gold Mine, you've got Stallion Match on your mind here.
That we do. We do have Stallion Match. And, if you've got a mare, and you're probably almost stepping into that area with a few of your bloodstock empire really increasing. So
I've got 6
when you
geldings.
do, and you want to go to the right stallion, this is what you got to do. You get on the G1, you find out who's the best match, and you know what? It's all gold from there on in.
Okay.
It's all gold.
Thank you to everyone at G1 Gold Mine. I've got a few geldings that I need some sort of help with. So
you got a couple there that were going to be good dressage horses as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got one that's going to be a great dressage horse. Hasn't even had a start yet. So I can certainly find him. It's a little like the Golden Boy. He can find the best rides. Idle time. Idle time for you, Golden Boy. Who caught your eye?
This was easy. Wednesday night, Casa, what was it called? Rochester. Yeah, this is Huey. They went very fast. It was a huge leaders track this night on Wednesday night. We all knew that. But this race here, they ran at 27.01, so the winner had to come back. Now, the other day when he raced, the last time he raced, he was caught wide and they tried to ride him closer. This is what you get when you ride horses a bit further back like this. Yeah, so he drew out. He's in the blue. He gets them back, but they're really going along. And he never panics at any stage, and that's what wins the race. If he had to go around horses at any stage or come out, he wouldn't have won. It was just the perfect ride, the whole race, Clint.
Yeah, it was, and really, really suited. Now, this is a horse that we actually made part of our strategy to start prior. Unfortunately for Lyle, he couldn't find a spot. He was 3 wide, no cover. We stuck with him, but he needed Hugh gave him the perfect ride given the race shape. They were about, I think, 10 lengths
10 in front.
from memory faster than standard. The horse that we've got in our Sid file, Sky Vino, just so you know, he's done a bit of work. He's outside the leader here. Now, he ends up running 4th, so that just gives you some idea on what a good run he was absorbing. But this is the part of the race, Shane, that I'm sure you love. Hughie just peeling his way. I don't know if there's anyone better at judging their way through a pack like this than Hughie.
If you look here, he just comes straight through and gets the perfect run, right, without getting him off balance. Now, he's kept him behind Autumn Leap, who's gone. He saved him for one run. And this horse is never in front until right on the line. And he had nothing left, this horse. Like, he just got him there at the right time, and he goes boom, and his head's down on the line. It was just a perfect ride.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
So he got all the votes, did he, this week?
He got 3. Well, he rode 4 winners, and he rode well, Sky Jewellery, and, of course, Stellar Swift. I should have deducted him some for that. That was too good a ride. Harmony Galaxy, yeah, he gets 3. Brendan rode 2 winners, but he put Zach back in a pocket in one race. That was Brilliant Express on the boombox at about the 300, which made him win the race. So that was a good ride, 2 of them. And rest of the boys, there's the rides. They all rode those horses really well. Ben Thompson rated C Sapphire. Sometimes he goes too fast, C Sapphire in front, but geez, he rated it really well. When you have a look at the sectionals, it had to kick. And of course, the second horse all the way runs second, which tells you that he rated it well. So
Hughie's getting close here.
Mate,
Hughie's on the heels.
Hughie's only 7.5 off the lead.
Stand by.
I mean,
Zach was suspended.
Yeah.
Well, but still, we had told Zach to build a little spot in his trophy cabinet.
Stand by. Just hang fire with that one.
Might have been a little premature there. So Zach holds on just by 7.5 votes at the moment.
He's coming home strong.
In the Idol. We're going to find some future winners, best bets, and give you an update from the Social Stable. Before we get to best bets, news that California Spangle has officially been retired. What an unbelievable record he ends up with. Those 3 big Group 1s, the champion Hong Kong sprinter, 13 victories, a star of the Hong Kong turf.
Yeah, and very nearly a derby. It took Romantic Warrior to beat him. So Tony Cruz did a brilliant job with him throughout his career. Enjoy retirement. He was an absolute ripper.
He certainly was, and that Alquoz sprint victory was fantastic last year. Best bets.
Best bets, well, we've got a few from the weekend and the first Griffin race as well at Sha Tin this weekend. So make sure you tune in and watch it where you can. Light Years Charm for me, I thought he was one of the better bets. I'll have a Quinellas with the numbers 2, 3 and 5. There might be some value in those Quinellas. Outside of that, I do like Aaron early in the day, race 4, number 4. Needs some luck from the gate. And then Glory Elite, once again, I'm hoping you'll get a little bit of juice in the Quinellas with that horse.
Okay, Golden Boy, what do you think?
Well, here's a couple. Race 9, Just a Flying. If number 10, if he repeats his last run, he'll win easy. He ran a very quick time up the straight, and if he does that again, it's not a strong race. He should win. He won't be any odds. This was a really good run the other day. This is race 7, number 13. He was run unbelievably fast, but still battled on strongly in front. And if he gets a soft lead, he's going to be hard to run down. Good luck.
Outstanding, Golden Boy. Hutch, looking forward to a big weekend and should be a beauty.
All the very best of luck to everyone.
Thanks so much for watching our show. See you next week.